Tensions escalate across the globe as significant geopolitical events unfold. From military conflicts to economic crises, the world is witnessing unprecedented changes. Stay tuned as we break down today's top stories that are shaping our future. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. A massive cyber attack has targeted critical infrastructure in multiple countries, raising alarms about national security and the integrity of essential services. Reports indicate that transportation, healthcare, and energy sectors have been severely affected, leading to widespread disruptions. Experts believe this coordinated attack may be the work of sophisticated hacking groups seeking to exploit vulnerabilities in national systems. Governments are scrambling to assess the damage and restore services while implementing measures to prevent future incidents. This attack highlights the growing threat of cyber warfare and the necessity for robust cybersecurity frameworks. As investigations continue, the implications for public safety and economic stability remain a primary concern. The need for international cooperation in cybersecurity efforts has never been more critical, as nations work to safeguard their digital infrastructures. A healthcare crisis is unfolding in Sub-Saharan Africa as nations grapple with the dual challenges of rising disease outbreaks and insufficient healthcare infrastructure. The ongoing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has stretched resources thin, exacerbating existing health issues. Reports indicate that outbreaks of diseases such as malaria and cholera are surging, leading to increased mortality rates. Governments are struggling to respond effectively, and international aid is critical to prevent further loss of life. Health organizations are mobilizing to provide support, but the scale of the crisis requires a coordinated global response. As the situation worsens, the call for increased investment in healthcare systems becomes urgent. The future health of millions hangs in the balance as stakeholders work to address these pressing challenges. Rising tensions in the South China Sea have prompted concerns among regional powers as military activity increases in disputed waters. The presence of naval vessels from several nations has sparked fears of possible confrontations. This region is significant not only for its strategic trade routes, but also for its rich natural resources. China's assertive claims over various territories continue to challenge international norms, leading to diplomatic protests from neighboring countries. The United States has reiterated its commitment to supporting freedom of navigation in the area, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. As dialogue efforts falter, the risk of miscalculation remains high, and calls for peaceful resolutions are growing louder. The international community is urging all parties to engage in dialogue to mitigate the risks and foster stability in this crucial maritime region. The technology industry is bracing for a wave of new regulations as governments around the world seek to address concerns about data privacy and monopolistic practices. Lawmakers are increasingly scrutinizing major tech companies, proposing measures to ensure consumer protection and fair competition. This shift comes amid rising public concern over how personal data is collected and used by these corporations. Industry leaders argue that excessive regulations could stifle innovation and hinder growth, while advocates for regulation insist that stronger protections are necessary in today's digital landscape. As discussions unfold, companies are preparing to adapt to new legal frameworks that could reshape their operations. The outcome of these regulatory challenges will have lasting implications for the tech sector, influencing everything from product development to consumer trust. Stakeholders are watching closely, and the industry is at a pivotal moment in navigating these. A groundbreaking new policy addressing climate change has been announced by a coalition of countries during a high-profile summit. This initiative aims to reduce carbon emissions significantly while promoting sustainable energy sources. Leaders from around the world gathered to discuss the urgent need for action, highlighting the unprecedented rate of climate change impacts being felt globally. The policy outlines commitments to invest in renewable energy technologies and phase out fossil fuels over the coming decades. Environmental groups have praised this initiative as a step in the right direction, but they also emphasize the need for immediate actions to support vulnerable communities affected by climate change. The success of this policy will depend on international cooperation and accountability as countries work to meet their commitments. As the world anticipates the implementation of these measures, the focus will be on how this initiative can reshape global energy production and consumption patterns. The global food crisis is deepening as supply chain disruptions and climate-related disasters continue to affect agricultural production worldwide. The United Nations reports that food prices have surged by over 30% in the past year, placing immense pressure on vulnerable populations, particularly in low-income countries. Nations that rely heavily on food imports, such as those in Sub-Saharan Africa, are feeling the strain most acutely. International organizations are warning of potential famine in these regions, exacerbated by the combination of rising energy costs, ongoing conflicts, especially in Ukraine, and increasingly adverse weather conditions due to climate change. Governments are seeking solutions to bolster food supplies, including increasing domestic production and exploring new trade agreements with agricultural nations. However, these efforts face significant challenges, including political instability and limited resources. Humanitarian organizations are mobilizing to provide immediate aid to affected communities, but long-term solutions addressing the root causes of food insecurity are imperative. As nations grapple with these challenges, enhancing global cooperation in agricultural innovation and sustainability will be crucial for future food security. Tensions have escalated in Eastern Europe as military exercises near the borders of Ukraine and Belarus have raised suspicions of an impending conflict. This increase in military activity comes amid a backdrop of long-standing geopolitical strife, heightened by recent political maneuvers from Russia and its allies. NATO has expressed serious concern over the augmented military presence in the region, prompting heightened alerts among member states, particularly those bordering Russia. Analysts suggest that this situation could destabilize not only Ukraine, but also the broader European security framework, potentially leading to a renewed arms race. In response, countries in Eastern Europe are bolstering their defenses and increasing military cooperation with NATO. Discussions among NATO allies are intensifying, focusing on strategies to deter further aggression. The potential for miscalculation in such a volatile environment poses significant risks for all parties involved. As both sides remain entrenched in their positions, diplomatic efforts are crucial. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether dialogue can prevail over confrontation, shaping the future stability of the region. A powerful earthquake struck off the coast of Indonesia today, measuring 7.1 on the Richter scale. The quake's epicenter was located near a popular tourist destination, prompting immediate evacuation orders for residents and visitors alike. Early reports indicate significant structural damage to buildings and infrastructure, with rescue teams dispatched to assess the situation and provide aid. Tsunami warnings were initially issued, causing widespread panic, but have since been lifted as the threat diminished. Indonesia, situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire, experiences frequent seismic activity. However, the scale of this quake has intensified scrutiny regarding the nation's preparedness and emergency response strategies. The government has mobilized resources to assist affected areas, but the aftermath of such natural disasters often presents challenges in recovery and rebuilding efforts. As residents begin to grapple with the destruction of homes and livelihoods, the international community stands ready to offer support. In the coming days, attention will focus on recovery operations, infrastructure assessments, and ensuring the safety and well-being of those displaced by this catastrophic event. Local authorities are prioritizing swift recovery measures to restore normalcy in the region. Severe flooding has wreaked havoc across several southern states in the United States, particularly affecting Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Emergency services are overwhelmed, responding to thousands of calls for assistance as rising waters submerge homes and businesses. The National Weather Service issued multiple flood warnings as heavy rains continue to fall, leading to overflowing rivers and submerged roadways. This catastrophic flooding follows an unusually dry season, raising concerns about the infrastructure's capacity to handle sudden weather extremes. Many communities are now grappling with significant property damage, while local authorities struggle to provide adequate shelter and resources for displaced residents. The psychological toll on families forced to evacuate is profound, compounding the physical destruction. As responses ramp up, the Federal Emergency Management Agency has announced plans to dispatch aid to the hardest-hit areas, including food, water, and emergency supplies. Residents are being urged to stay vigilant as more rain is forecasted in the coming days, which could exacerbate the situation. The long-term impact on these communities remains to be seen, but recovery efforts will likely take months, with rebuilding efforts focusing on resilience against future flooding events. Local leaders emphasize the need for improved infrastructure and emergency preparedness moving forward. In a dramatic turn of events, the conflict in Iran has escalated significantly as both military and diplomatic tensions rise. The Iranian government has announced a series of military maneuvers near the Strait of Hormuz, raising alarm among international observers. This strategically vital area is critical for global oil shipping routes, with approximately 20% of the world's oil passing through it. Any military action here could disrupt supplies and lead to a sharp spike in oil prices, impacting economies worldwide. The backdrop of this escalation involves ongoing negotiations between Iran and the United States regarding nuclear capabilities, which have been fraught with challenges since the U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal in 2018. Despite ongoing peace talks, recent missile tests by Iran have cast doubt on the future of these discussions and heightened fears of a potential arms race in the region. The international community is urging for restraint, as further military action could ignite a wider conflict involving regional powers. Experts warn that the implications of this standoff could reshape geopolitical alliances and disrupt global energy markets. As the situation develops, world leaders are preparing to respond, with many calling for an emergency meeting at the United Nations. The coming days will be crucial in determining whether diplomacy can prevail over escalating military tensions. Thank you for watching today's News Roundup. Which story impacted you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.